Welcome everybody to the Big 12 and National Picks competition. It's where I do all the picks that I want to do for this weekend in college football. There were a lot of upsets over the weekend, which helped a lot of teams. There's a conference championship on the line with no title game. We won't pick the game, but I'll tell you what it's going to take for each team to win that particular game between Oklahoma and West Virginia. Plus, we'll go over all the other action across the league and the nation. Coming up in the next few minutes, only right here, Boomer Sooner 1982. Don't go away. Alrighty then, everybody. Welcome to the show. My name is Harry James. We'll now go over all of the Big 12 action this weekend in college football. We'll start there as we always do, and that starts at 11 a.m. with two games. ESPNU will have Kansas State and Baylor. I'm going to go with the Wildcats of Kansas State at this ball game. The Fox Sports 1 game in the morning will be Okie State at TCU. I'm going to go with Oklahoma State in this ball game, but watch out for the Frogs. They're kind of sneaky in there, and they might be able to pull this one out. 2:30, the mid-game. Two more mid-games for you. Texas will be on the road at Kansas on ESPN or ABC, whichever one you want to watch. Whichever one it's not on, take the other. I'm going to go with Texas. You can't go against Texas in that one, can you? And then the night game, Fox Sports 1 will be Texas Tech at Iowa State in Ames. I'm going to go with the Raiders of Texas Tech. And then the nightcap. There is a nightcap late into the night, 7 p.m. Central Time, 8 p.m. Coastal Time. Really, my Oklahoma Sooners, as they will be out in Morgantown, West Virginia, country roads, take them home. Now, if the Oklahoma Sooners are going to win this ball game, what they've got to do, just keep on doing what you do. They have this amazing defense in West Virginia, and all credit to them. But you know what you have that can break up that defense? A running game, a powerful running game, two powerful backs. Both of them know how physical and how natural they are at this game. Pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the ball, pound the rock. If you do that, Oklahoma should win this battle. But what about Morgantown's side of view? Well, if West Virginia's going to win this ball game, what they've got to do is they have got to take their lumps and they have got to take them in chunks and get them down early. Get Oklahoma down early with their defense not up to par with yours. You can get on top of these guys pretty quickly if you want to. And if they do, West Virginia could win this ball game pretty handily. There are some other games besides in Big 12 play, like the Thursday night game between Kansas State, and they will be at Bowling Green on ESPNU. I'm going to go with Bowling Green. The University of Ohio on ESPNU. ESPN2 on Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. Also, you'll have the University of Ohio will be at Central Michigan. ESPN Dus. I'm going to go with ESPN. I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan. Or Central Michigan, I'm sorry. Wednesday night, Ball State at Toledo on ESPN2. I'm going to go with Toledo. And the Northern Illinois will be at Eastern Michigan, also at 6 o'clock. Both games at 6 o'clock on ESPNU. This one is. And I'm going to go with Eastern Michigan in this ball game. Thursday night, Louisville will be at Houston on ESPN. I'm going to go with the Cougars. And finally, Arkansas State at Troy on ESPNU. I'm going to go with Arkansas State. A couple of Friday night tilts to get you ready for the weekend, too. And that includes a Memphis at Cincinnati game at 7 o'clock on CBS Sports Network. I'm going to go with Memphis. And at 8 o'clock, ESPNU will have University of Las Vegas at Boise State at 8 p.m. on ESPN The Deuce. And I'm going to actually go with Boise in this ball game. Saturday slate, full game of slates. Getting you off with some breakfast, some orange juice at 11 a.m. A couple of these ball games of interest. ESPN will have the Ohio State University at Michigan State. I'm going to go with the Ohio State University. UTSA, Texas San Antonio, will be at Texas A&M. On ESPNU, I'm going to go with the Aggies in this one, even though they're without two major quarterbacks. I think that they can beat UTSA. Speaking of teams that usually beat, Georgia on the SEC Network will be playing Louisiana Lafayette in Georgia. So I'm going to go with Georgia. CBS Sports Network has one pretty interesting. Morgan State will be at Army. I'm going to go with Army. ESPN3 also has a pretty interesting game. UTEP will be at Rice. I'm going to go with UTEP. Iowa will be at Illinois on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Iowa. Maryland will be at Nebraska on ESPN News. I'm going to go with the Big Red, Big Nebraska. And then finally, the ABC game in the morning slot will be the Badgers of Wisconsin at Purdue on ABC. I'm going to go with the Badgers. 11:30 a.m. slot. There's two of them on the ACC network, both. That includes Virginia at Georgia Tech on the ACC network. I'm going to go with Georgia Tech. Also, Miami, the U, will be at NC State on the ACC network. I'm going to go with NC State. 12 p.m. noon, Florida and LSU on the SEC network. This game being played, of course, because of the hurricanes and all the ramifications of such previously. Now this is the reset game. It will be on the SEC network, and I'm going to go with the Tigers. Also at 12 p.m. on ACC network, UConn will be at BC on the ACC network. I'm going to go with Boston College. 1 p.m. ESPN3 will have a few games. They include Middle Tennessee State at Charlotte. I'm going to go with Charlotte. UMass at BYU. I'm going to go with BYU. And Georgia Southern will be at Georgia State on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Georgia State. All three games, 11 o'clock or 1 o'clock in the afternoon. All three games, ESPN3.com. There's one game off of that on the Pac-12 network between Oregon at Utah on Pac-12 network. I'm going to go with the Utes. 1:30 p.m. ULL, University of Louisiana Lafayette, will be at Appalachian State at 1:30 p.m. on ESPN3. I'm going to go with App State. And finally, at 2 o'clock, Pitt will try to keep on their roll after beating Clemson as they will host Duke. Duke at Pitt on the ACC network. I'm going to go with the Panthers. The middle game, the 2:30 slot that's supposed to be a wide slate of games. Well, there is a wide slate of games, including our old buddy Mike Leach from the Big 12 country, now at Washington State. And they will be on the road at Colorado on the Fox National. I'm going to go with Washington State in this ball game. Florida State will be at Syracuse on the ABC ESPN2 mirror. I'm going to go with Florida State. ESPNU will have Buffalo at Wyoming. I'm going to go with Wyoming. Temple at Tulane on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Temple. Virginia Tech will be at Notre Dame on NBC. I'm going to go with Tech. Missouri will be at Tennessee on CBS Sports Network. I'm going to go with Tennessee. The Citadel will be at North Carolina on the ACC Network. I'm going to go with UNC. Temple will be at Tulane on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Temple in this ball game. Indiana will be at Michigan on ESPN. I'm going to go with Michigan. And Northwestern will be at Minnesota on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Minnesota. 3 games at the 3 o'clock slate. the West Carolina at South Carolina game will be on the SEC network. I'm going to go with South Carolina. And 2 games on ESPN3.com. Troy State at New Mexico State. I'm going to go with New Mexico State. And Utah State at Nevada on ESPN3. I'm going to go with Nevada. 3:30 Austin Peay will be at Kentucky on the SEC network. I'm going to go with Kentucky. 4:30 p.m. Stanford at Cal on the Pac-12 network. I'm going to go with Cal. Also at 4:30 p.m. on the BN Sports Network, Southern Mississippi will be at University of Northern Texas. I'm going to go with UNT. And 5 o'clock, you will have Old Dominion at Florida Atlantic on the Campus Insider channel. I'm going to go with Old Dominion. 6 o'clock, Hawaii will be at Fresno State on the Atlantic Postal pay-per-view channel. I'm going to go with Hawaii. Clemson at Wake Forest, ESPN. I'm going to go with Clemson. Marshall at Florida International on the Armed Force Network. I'm going to go with Florida International. Arkansas at Mississippi State on ESPN2. I'm actually going to go with Mississippi State in this ball game. ESPNU will have the other game in the SEC between Chattanooga and Alabama. You can't go against Alabama in that ball game. Presbyterian at South Alabama will be on ESPN3.com. I'm going to go with South Alabama. Finally, CBS Sports Network will have South Florida at Southern Methodist. I'm going to go with South Florida. 6:30 p.m. Alabama at Auburn. Alabama A&M at Auburn. Sorry, Alabama A&M at Auburn. I'm actually going to go with Auburn in this ballgame on the SEC Network. And Arizona State at Washington on ESPN on Fox. I'm actually going to go with Washington in this ballgame. Not only is Oklahoma and West Virginia at 7 o'clock on that night, but also is Ole Miss at Vanderbilt on the SEC Network. I'm going to go with Vandy. Penn State at Rutgers on the Big Ten Network. I'm going to go with Penn State. And Tulane at Central Florida. I'm going to go with Central Florida in this ballgame. It will be on ESPN News. The 7:30 p.m. slate is set also as Arizona will be at Oregon State on the Pac-12 Network. I'm going to go with Oregon State. 9:15. You'll have New Mexico at Colorado State on ESPN2. I'm going to go with Colorado State. And 2 games at 9:30 p.m. The nightcap. USC at UCLA. I'm going to go Southern Cal on ESPN. And the CBS Sports Network will have Air Force at San Jose State. And I'm going to go with Air Force. All right, guys. That's my picks. Don't take any of these picks to Vegas or anything. I'm not promising that you'll win money. But if you do, I want some of the chunk change. Thanks for watching, everybody. My name's Harry James Taylor. You can find me on Facebook, Harry James Taylor, or tweet me at Sooner_fan_OK. It's been an exciting week of college football. Let's see if we can make it even more exciting with a few more upsets, people. Should be fun. See ya later. I'm out of here.